like it. Oh my gosh. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh. Ooh, we're having too much fun here. So, hi. Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to our 5-minute Fri Yay. If you haven't been tuning in, you don't know that we are talking branding for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's what we're focusing on right now.
And a couple more weeks.
Yeah, we have a few more weeks of it left. If you've been following along, get excited because we're about to dig back into branding. And so today we're going to talk to you about the absolute must-dos and nos and don'ts for a branding project.
Yes.
Because we want to make sure that we're kind of recapping here a little bit today.
Yes.
To kind of go back over some of those things we've talked about.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes have had a lot of information, so we just kind of want to recap everything short and sweet.
Bring it all back together. So first we're going to talk about some of the 5 things that you absolutely must do or know and understand when you go in to get a branding project done. So whenever you're going to get a logo designed, get anything of this nature done for your business, you got to know, first of all, what does a logo do for you?
Yes, it instantly identifies who you are. It helps people to connect, identify who you are. You see the little swoosh? Nike.
Yeah, so those kinds of little visual elements are really important to have something really unique and different so that people look at it and they instantly know, like, oh, I know.
Even colors. Colors
And
will make you instantly feel that too.
Makes you feel a certain way too, which leads us to color palettes.
Color palette. It also helps easily recognize who you are. It also gives kind of a feeling of your tone and voice to kind of give those emotions that you were talking about. And those
Right,
feelings.
yeah, it's all about the emotion, which if you know me, you know I'm all pretty emotional creature, so yeah. Brand guidelines. So the brand guidelines, if you remember us talking about those, it just kind of brings all of that, all of those elements together in one place and helps you keep your messaging controlled and consistent. You will hear us if you continue to watch these. You will hear us over and over and over again talk about consistency and how that is key in all that we do.
And then the last one.
The last one is, well, it's your voice and tone. So I kind of put those together, but then want to separate them again. Hi, Joy. Thanks for tuning in. So we were talking about all the things that you absolutely have to know before you go into creating or having a brand created for your company. So we're talking about voice and tone. What does voice and tone do?
Voice is
Educate me.
consistent across all platforms and situations.
Whereas tone changes depending on who you're talking to, where you're talking to them. You can change your tone a little bit so that it fits that certain situation or scenario or audience. And overall, those two combine together to just really help people relate to you and relate to your company and feel connected to you with the right messaging.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 must-dos. Now we're going to talk about the don'ts, but we're going to give you solutions too.
Yes, in ways to avoid as well.
Right. Just some tips and advice on branding don'ts. So the number 1 most common issue we see is inconsistency.
Now we know how annoying that is. I'm sure all of your life you've heard consistency is key, and it truly, truly is, especially when it comes to your company and branding.
Right, because you want to be able to stand out in the crowd and be recognizable and be memorable to your target audience, your customers, your past clients, your potential clients. Hi, Terry. So you want to make sure that you're able to get in front of them and have them remember you in a positive way. And if you are inconsistent in your branding and you have just a rainbow of colors or a different logo every month, it makes it really difficult for people to follow along with and to connect with. So there's 2 kind of pieces to this that I feel like people end up very inconsistent in their branding, and it usually comes back to, oh, Terry says, I'm so proud of everything you're doing. Oh, Terry, I love you. I miss you. So Terry, if just a side note, so Terry and I have known her for years, back before I even started freelancing days. So I met her, gosh, probably 10 years ago, and yeah, she was a big influence on me in a lot of ways. So hey Terry, I see you. So there are really two things that it comes back to in those. Right, so time is a big one. So being inconsistent in your branding can come back to maybe you're just strapped for time and you don't have time to clearly think about how every little branding decision you make or messaging decision you make is going to affect the overall kind of sense or perception of your business. Right? So what else do we have here?
Money.
Yeah, so, maybe not everyone, and a lot of the companies that we work with, a lot of our clients are very, very small companies, startups, brand new. They're even side hustles trying to...
one person, a small team.
Solopreneurs. I hear you. I feel you. You are validated in all that you're going through. So it's a lot of time to really sit down and hone in on your brand message, on your voice, your tone, your color palette, all of that, and it can be really expensive to have done for you. So some solutions to both of these really is what we want to go into next. So for time, really planning goes a long way.
We know that, if your timing is restricted, planning sometimes does take up a lot of time, but if you can find just an hour or two, even if I know it sucks, but on a weekend, just to sit and plan your month, plan your quarter.
But when you're planning your branding too, planning that messaging and all of that, you can take a chunk of time and really get into the zone and knock it out and then save yourself from having to, in the moment, we see this all the time, of people just being in the moment and not taking the time to plan things out and the effects of that.
Or the biggest thing we all do, I'll do it later.
Right.
I have more time later, I'll do it later.
Right. But this is such a key part of presenting yourself in a very professional, successful manner.
And staying consistent.
Is consistency in your branding and your messaging. So this is a huge, huge consideration to make. And it doesn't matter, I'm just going to throw it out there and be real harsh right now, but it doesn't matter how good your food is, how good your service is, how great your product is. If you don't have your branding done well and it's not consistent, people aren't going to come in your door. They're not going to come to your website. They're not going to be able to follow along and understand. And if they do, they might come buy something once, but they're not going to come back for more and be those loyal brand advocates that everybody wants. Hi, Tanika. Hello. So just to go on a little bit further with that, another big issue that we see is in that voice and tone we keep talking about. A lot of inconsistencies in that. So really what does that boil down to?
Not understanding or knowing your audience.
Right. So a lot of people get kind of distracted by what they want or what they think is appealing versus what really your audience wants and needs. So making sure that you know exactly who you're talking to and niche it way down. All the rest is bonus. You can talk, it drives me nuts when people are really like, oh, well, everyone's my customer, everyone's my client. Sure, that might be true. You might have some wonderful universal product or service that almost everyone could truly benefit from. But you really want to talk to those people that we were just talking about, those people who come back for more and more and send you referrals and share.
And also goes back to your branding guide of those personas we really talked about.
Yes, so personas are a huge part of this. They really are the heart and soul, though, of a strong brand strategy, of making sure you know exactly who you're talking to. Well, you can write that out. You can plan that out, and make it... Right, and make it in a way so that you are very strong and you know exactly who that person is, who you want to resonate with. It might be several even, but you got to make sure that in your branding and your messaging that you're talking to the right people in the right place.
Exactly. But if some of the things that you're struggling with you're not great at or you can't afford, we do have some solutions to help you out.
Absolutely. So as a very small business, we totally understand, and we are on the same page of, you've got to be very deliberate about when and where and how you spend your limited dollars, right? So really, there are some solutions for that. I mean, we live in this digital world, right?
We do.
So there are all kinds of educational opportunities that are free.
Tools that'll help you out.
YouTube. I
Oh my
graduated
gosh.
from the school of YouTube, basically. That's where all my knowledge in this comes from, genuinely, is from practical experience of taking
Some
up
of my
clients.
greatest art tools that I figured out hasn't even been from my classes when I went to school. It was actually looking up things on YouTube of people going, oh, you want this kind of style? Here's how you do it.
Right. Or something, maybe you do have a little bit of money to invest, but not a huge budget for it. So maybe going to a workshop, or signing up for a webinar. There's a lot of free webinars. There's some paid. One of my favorite resources for learning any kind of creative skill is creativelive.com. I have no affiliation with them. I just really love what they do. But go check it out. They've got a ton of webinars. You can watch them live for free, or you can sign, or there's like 2 different ways. You can pay for to be a part of the webinar, or you can rewatch it later. And there's a free version and there's a paid version. So that's a great way. Go to a workshop in person. Maybe it's one of ours. Maybe you've been to one of ours. But really, like, using those opportunities to get in front, not maybe one-on-one time with an expert,
Right.
because that can be pretty pricey, and we understand
But
that.
even finding a blog or
Right.
a book that an author in a creative field or a business field or in your field has written. And if you still need help, there are some other things you can do.
Right. So even going and say you wanted to get a brand, a new logo designed for a new company you're starting, but you don't have any clients yet, you don't have any customers, you don't have any revenue at all. So you can't go pay a couple $1,000s for this full-blown brand package, this boutique brand package. So maybe you go and you get, like someone who's a student about to graduate, that needs to put things in their portfolio.
That's a great idea.
That's a great opportunity there. So either going to the school, like going to your local colleges and talking to people about, who are the students who are in these programs who want to work and have, maybe you compensate them a little bit, or maybe they do it for free.
Yeah, I mean, even
using-
when I was in school, we did it as a competition.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, we would. Our class would do a competition and give them a few options, and then that way they got to decide which one they liked best.
Huh, that's really fun. I love that. Yeah, so looking for those kinds of opportunities, or maybe you go and you get that, or you use, I hate sending people to some of these platforms out there where you can go get a logo done for like $50, $75. But with that, you're not going to get the personal attention and the education along with it. So maybe you go and you do that. For now, that works. If you have a pretty solid idea of what you want, I've seen it work for some people.
You've done some planning, some research.
Some people it has not worked for because they don't really know what they want or how to communicate what they want. And then they end up paying for this thing and they're like, I don't love it. But it'll work for now. So you can bring that to people like us, and maybe we sit with you for half an hour or an hour of our time, and we can go through and be like, okay, do you have all the right file formats that you need? Do you, are you getting your color palette so that you know what your brand colors are?
Do you have a problem that you can't figure out that you just need to talk it through with us?
Right. So you can kind of piecemeal it together in a way that makes sense for you on your budget without going and, spending all this money before you even have a real established business. Because that's like the most painful thing to see in the world is businesses that are starting up and have great ideas and have great opportunities, but haven't really established their company yet and poured all this money. we just had a conversation with someone who's starting a new bakery locally here, and when we were talking, she's just getting started with the idea and was like, oh, what do we need? Do we need a website? I have a logo, but do we need a website? Do we need this? Do we need that? And I was like, I mean, it would be great to have all of those things, but how about you test the market, you generate some revenue, and then you come back and you get something absolutely beautiful that you really love, and you've established kind of who you are,
Right.
and you have some revenue to dip into to pay for it, so that you're not stressed.
And not doing it a second time.
Right, so that you don't have to pay for things double, because that's awful as well. And you don't have to come back and say, okay, that's great, but now I need this redone, and now I'm paying extra.
Right. And we'll always share, with our clients or anyone who asks us, we'll be honest. We're not going to tell you that you need to have something when you don't need to have it. We're not going to add something to the list of things you need just simply to add things.
Right. So that person that we talked to, we told her, just start an Instagram. Sell your baked goods on Instagram for a while, build it up.
Optimize a Facebook.
And then when you're ready, come back and invest into a website. Invest in, to setting up all these other marketing funnels and whatever you need. So there are ways to do it that are effective and efficient, and also don't put you in that position of just being a stress case.
Right.
We hate seeing that. So anyway, that's what we've got today for the absolute must-dos and don'ts for branding projects. Absolute must-knows.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed it. That's it. That's our Fri YAY for today. Yeah. Next week, we will dig into
Color psychology.
That's
her favorite.
Drool. Like, I am so obsessed. Hey, Teresa. I am so obsessed with. Well, okay. So for those of you that don't know, my degree is in psychology. So I am fascinated by.
So it might end up having to be a two-parter.
Maybe. I will, however, we will be doing this. We will figure out the split screen live.
Either that or we'll film it beforehand.
Or we will film it beforehand. So we may not be live next week, but it will be uploaded on Friday if it's not. Or we'll try and figure out that split screen action. So hope you tune in for that. Also, you know what I'm about to plug. If you've been watching these, you know I'm about to plug that Building Your Brand event at South University in Virginia Beach next week. If you are local and you want to learn from some really smart people, I'm not putting myself in that bucket. I just am lucky to be on this panel with them. But there are some extraordinarily talented and smart humans who are on this panel with me. I'm excited to learn from them. But it's Building Your Brand. It's at South University. You can register on Eventbrite. I talked to Don from South University today. And you like that stutter? Are you laughing at that? Yeah. Thanks. And he said pretty good crowd's gonna come out. So they've got about 65 registered on Eventbrite so far, 65 people. So come on out. It's what is it, from 6
to 8?
Ooh, I don't remember now. So like,
check on our Facebook page.
It's on
We share
Facebook.
The event.
Yeah. Go to the events tab, check it out, go register on Eventbrite, come out, enjoy the talk, enjoy the networking and social aspect, and then there's also going to be food, and it's free.
I love food.
So come on out and enjoy that, and then hopefully we will see you next week for our next Fri YAY.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
I really need the remote.